Hi, Max. So I'm going to take the things you told me and I'm going to explain them to you in your chart through the degree method. So the first thing, you said that you lived with your grandmother for 2 years, right? So that means you and your mother were relying on your grandmother's resources, correct? So that shows in your chart through here. Now, the thing about degree theory is that we don't have to, we don't, like with degree theory, we can look at it to see different moments in our lives. You know, if I had been your astrologer, I don't know, way back when, or if I could have been your astrologer way before this could have happened, I could have looked at your chart and I could have told you, oh, you live with your grandmother, you and your mother, well, it's not going to go well and this is why. But anyway, so notice how you have the moon right here. The moon is you. It's in Cancer. That's your mother. And it's at the 20th degree. The 20th degree is a Scorpio degree. Scorpio represents other people's possessions. So this shows you and your mother at some point in your life. Like when you were born, if I would have read your chart, I would tell your mom if she wanted to know. You and your son will at some point rely on the possessions and resources of someone else. You know, this will be a long season for you. How do I know that? Because the moon is in conjunct to Uranus in a fixed sign. Fixed signs represent longer periods of time. And then I would be able to tell your mom, I would be able to go to the fourth house and I would tell her some reasons why this eventually would not work out. So notice how the fourth house, which is your home, is at the 24th degree. The 24th degree is a Pisces degree. Pisces represents a loss. So one day the home would be lost, right? And then what's going to happen? So the ruler of the fourth house, it's in Leo. The ruler of Leo is the sun. So then we go to the sun. After the loss of the home, right? You guys would be using somebody else's resources. It's at the 20th degree. Remember, that's a Scorpio degree, somebody else's resources. It would be somebody that your mother met through work. The reason I know it's that your mother met this person through work is because the sun rules the fourth house, which is traditionally the mom. And then the sun is in Virgo and your mother is a photographer. And you told me she met the person you're staying with now through her job. So you can see that right there in the chart. And then let's see what else. You can also see the moon. So notice how going back to the moon here, showing that both of you guys would be at the wheel of somebody else's resources. It is making an inconjunct, which represents a hard adjustment to Chiron at the 23rd degree in Sagittarius. So the 23rd degree, it's an Aquarius degree. It represents things that are unexpected. So there is something unexpected that's going to happen one day living with the grandmother, right? So what is this unexpected thing that's going to happen? Chiron is in Sagittarius. So we know that this thing that's unexpected, we know it's going to involve some type of distance, some type of traveling, some type of Sagittarian theme, right? So how do we know for sure it's a move in particular? Because just because you're traveling doesn't mean you're moving. Well, Chiron is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And so through dispositorship, we go over here to look at Jupiter. Jupiter is in Cancer, Cancer being the home. So we know it will involve the moving of the home. We know it's going to be unexpected. And then Jupiter is at the 11th degree. The 11th degree is also an Aquarius degree. And so from that's a double influence for something very unexpected happening with using this other person's resources eventually, right? And we know it'll be a long distance move because of that Sagittarian Jupiterian influence. And then check this out. The moon is making an inconjunct. Remember, that's that hard adjustment to Uranus. Uranus is in the 9th house, again, coinciding with something that is long distance, and it's in conjunct to the moon in Cancer. So that's a triple influence showing that one day you would have an unexpected move due to lack of another person's resources. And then Uranus is also at the 21st degree, which is a Sagittarius Jupiter degree, which also represents long distance. That's a fourth influence. I would know for sure, looking at this chart when you were born, that you were going to one day move unexpectedly because of somebody else's resources, because of that being most likely taken away, right? And then we can also see that through the MC. The MC is the dominant parent. Of course, it's going to be at the 24th degree too, which is lost. It's a Pisces degree. And then you also said your mother is a photographer, right? So using derivative astrology, fourth house being the mom, right? So for those of you who don't know how to use derivative astrology, you're just going to have to go and look it up later. I have lots of tweets on it. But for those of you who do know what I'm talking about, fourth house, let's say we want to look at your mother's job. So fourth house, mom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brings us to the ninth. The ninth house generally shows the mother's job in a person's chart, generally, right? So you say your mother is a photographer. Neptune is there. Neptune represents photography. It's at the 6th degree. The 6th degree represents Virgo energy. Virgo is what? It is the job. So I could keep going, but I think you kind of get the picture. Also, another thing that I think is pretty cool to see in your chart. So you do have Saturn opposite Pluto making a T-square to the sun. So what that tells me is that one day you would eventually encounter a series of power struggles with an older person. I know it's power struggles because because Pluto was involved, right? Ooh, excuse me, I burped. I know it's an older person because Saturn is involved, right? Saturn represents older people. And then Saturn is in the 12th house in Gemini, and Gemini represents documents. The 12th house represents things that are false or untrue, things that are unclear. And you told me that your grandmother filed a false police report. She falsified a document. And so that also shows me that one day this power struggle would lead to that. It would have something to do with a falsified document, right? And so one thing that I talked about on my Patreon is how degrees can sometimes be like the ribbon on top of a present box that, keeps the present together. It's what ties the whole little interp together, right? So it's clear here that you will one day have power struggles with this older person, and then the sun is in the 4th house, so we know that you would live with this person. So let's ask ourselves, okay, so why can't Max get away from this person? What is the issue? Why can't he just avoid these power struggles? Well, we look right here, the sun, it's at the 20th degree, other people's resources, right? So that's our little ribbon tying that whole little bow together. And that's the reason why you couldn't get away from it, because at that point in time, during that time period, you were relying on your grandmother's home. She helped pay for the mother's studio, and you guys were relying on her. You guys were using her things, right? So there was nothing else you could really do during that time but endure the power struggle. So I could keep on going, but I think you kind of get the point. Let's see if I see anything else. I could keep going, but I had to have time to think about it before I just start talking. But okay, thanks.